August 10, 2019, isang lalaki na may direct access sa presidents, prinsipe, billionaires at global elites. Natagpuan siyang tsugi sa loob ng isang federal jail cell. So, hindi siya small-time criminal, mga mi. Hindi rin siya random rich guy. Isa siya sa pinaka-connected na tao sa mundo. At sa loob lang ng isang buwan, matapos siyang maaresto, bigla na lang died na. So, ang official ruling, suicide. Pero ang mas nakakaloka dito is, kung nabuhay siya at umabot sa trial, sino-sino kaya ang mapipilitang tumistigo sa korte? Sino yung matatawag sa witness stand? Sino ang kailangang sumagot under oath? Kasi, tandaan yung mga miya, noong July 2019, kakasampa lang ng federal sex trafficking charges laban sa kanya. Walang plea deal, walang special treatment, detained without bail. So, for the first time in decades, wala na siyang control. And then, wala na rin siyang trial. The man at the center of one of the biggest abuse scandals in modern history died before he could speak in court. And when he died, hindi lang siya inawala. Kasama niya namatay yung posibilidad na marinig ang buong kwento sa ilalim ng panunumpa. So, ang tanong ngayon, ano ba talaga yung alam niya? At gaano kalalim yung mundong ginagalawan niya? So, ito na yung most requested yung mga mi na pinutakte nyo sa Comsec sa previous video ko. Sa pasensya na mga mi kung medyo natagalan kasi sumakit yung ulo ko kung paano ko i-condense to. Kasi overwhelming yung information. O anyway, this is the story of Jeffrey Epstein. Not just kung paano siya yumaman, not just kung ano ang ginawa niya, kundi kung paano siya nakalusot ng halos 2 dekada at kung bakit hanggang ngayon, maraming tanong ang hindi pa rin nasasagot. And trust me, habang hinihimay natin to, mas lalo kayong mapapaisip ng paano nangyari to. Okay, so let's rewind. Hindi muna tayo sa jets, hindi muna tayo sa private island at hindi muna tayo sa billionaires. Okay, dito unang pumutok ang kwento. Palm Beach, Florida, March 2005. So, isang magulang yung tumawag sa Palm Beach Police Department. So, hindi siya marites mga miha. Hindi siya anonymous tip. Isang parent mismo ang nagsabi na yung anak ko binabayaran ng isang mayamang lalaki para magbigay ng massage sa loob ng mansion niya. And that wealthy man, si Jeffrey Epstein. At dito nagsimula yung domino effect. So ang importante dito mga mi, this wasn't just one girl. Pagkatapos ng initial complaint, nagsimula na yung full police investigation. So hindi siya overnight, no? Months yung tinagal. Nag-interview ang detectives ng maraming teenage girls. So isa-isa, tsaka hiwa-hiwalay. At ang napansin nila, yung mga batang to, hindi sila magkakakilala. So, walang group chat, walang script, no? Pero pare-pareho yung kwento nila. Same house, same setup, same routine, same payment range, usually around between $100 to $300. So, umpisa, sinasabihan silang massage work. Pero pagdating sa loob ng mansion, nag-iiba yung rules. And this is important legally, mga mino. So, kasi most of the girls were minors, between 14 to 17 years old. So, mga mi, sa US Federal Law, kapag minor at may kapalit na pera o something of value, hindi na kailangan patunayan ang force para maging trafficking case, no? Pero at this stage, local police pa lang yung gumagalaw. So habang lumalalim yung investigation, mas dumadami yung statements. May mga nagsabi na na-approach sila through friends, na pressure silang mag-recruit ng iba, na pinakilala sila sa isang socialite woman na nagno-normalize ang situation. At doon nagsimulang mabuo yung picture. So, hindi siya random incident ha. May pattern, may structure, may repetition. At sa dulo ng investigation, yung Palm Beach Police Department, nag-recommend sila ng serious felony charges laban kay Epstein. On paper, solid yung case. So, hindi to kulang sa ebidensya ha. Hindi ito weak witness. Tsaka hindi rin siya rumor. So, this was the moment na dapat, kung titingnan natin logically, no, dito na natapos yung lahat. Pero, hindi. So instead of being the end, ito pa lang pala yung simula. Okay mga mi, ito yung nakakawindang na part dito. Kasi yung lalaking inaakusahan sa Palm Beach case, he didn't even have a college degree. The man who moved around billionaires, who owned mansions and a private jet, hindi man lang nakapagtapos, di ba? Okay, so ito yung tanong. So sino ba talaga si Jeffrey Epstein? So Jeffrey Edward Epstein was born January 20, 1953. So Brooklyn kid, middle-class Jewish family. Walang old money, walang political dynasty, walang powerful last name. Ordinary guy lang siya, ordinary background. Pero academically, magaling daw siya. confident, and good with numbers. So nag-aral siya sa Lafayette High School sa Brooklyn. And then after that, nag-aral siya sa Cooper Union, and then later kumuha siya ng math courses sa New York University. Pero here's the key detail. Hindi siya nagtapos, mga mi. Walang degree. He enrolled, he attended, but he did not graduate. And yet somehow, napasok niya ang isa sa pinaka-elite private school sa Manhattan, yung Dalton School. So ito na, early 1970s. Yung Dalton guys, yung Dalton School is not just any school. Yung mga estudyante doon came from Wall Street families, political families, media families, old money, mga yayamanin talaga. Tapos naging teacher siya doon. So isipin nyo, wala siyang teaching license, wala din siyang degree. Pero nakapasok siya doon. Kaloka, di ba? Ang tanong, bakit? Paano? Kasi mga may, he was articulate. Magaling siya magsalita. Confident. Alam niyo yun, access without credentials. Pero he didn't stay long though. So around 1976, he left the school. So walang detailed public explanation. And then, instead of disappearing, tumalon siya agad sa Wall Street. So Bear Stearns, 1976. Isa sa pinaka-powerful investment banks at the time. So again, wala siyang finance degree. Wala rin siyang formal background pero nakapasok na naman siya ulit. Tsaka hindi lang siya basta staff doon ha. He worked in trading and investment operations involving wealthy clients. So 4 years later, he left. Lakas ng hilik ni Malus. So ang ano yung official reason? No? Ang sabi daw, personality differences. And then, the real mystery begins. Kasi around 1982, he launched his own firm, yung J. Epstein & Co. J. Epstein & Company. So, ano ba yung claim niya? Sabi niya, he only handled money for clients worth over 1 billion. Think about that. Walang website, walang public investor list. Walang clear strategy na public. Pero bigla siyang nagkaroon ng luxury properties, mansions in Manhattan, Palm Beach Estate, and connections everywhere. So ang tanong, saan galing ang datis? Saan galing ang datong? And that's when one name changes everything. Pasok sa eksena si Leslie H. Wexner, founder of Victoria's Secret, billionaire and head of L Brands. So Epstein became deeply involved in managing Wexner's finances. So naging kliyente niya si Leslie Wexner. So ito yung isang detail na sobrang nakakaloka. Kasi si Wexner, binigyan niya si Epstein ng power of attorney. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Ibig sabihin, pwede siyang gumawa ng financial decisions in behalf of Wexner. As if siya mismo si Wexner. So that level of trust, lalo na sa isang bilyonaryo, is extremely rare. And after that, suddenly, Epstein wasn't just connected. Mukha na siyang legitimate billionaire kasi he had money, properties, elite invitations, presidents, and prinsipe kasama niya in the same room. Pero here's the theme you have to hold on to ha. He kept entering powerful rooms without the paper credentials. Walang degree, walang transparent track record, and walang clear explanation of how he built wealth at that scale. What he had was something else. Exactly, access and confidence and proximity to powerful people. And that combination is what made everything that followed possible. Okay, so at this point, syempre may datis na siya, may datong na, 'di ba? May mansions na, may billionaire backing, tsaka may access na siya sa elite rooms. Pero dito nag-shift yung kwento. Kasi hindi na lang ito tungkol sa mysterious rich guy, no? This is when access started moving, like literally. Now, si Lolo Epps, tawagan na lang natin siyang Lolo Epps. So si Lolo Epps owned a private jet, isang Boeing 727. So hindi to pang flex lang, no? Hindi siya rich lifestyle content. Kasi this plane would later earn a nickname in media coverage as yung Lolita Express. And the reason it got that name, because according to sworn testimonies and court documents, may mga underage girls na isinasakay sa jet na to, flying from place to place. Palm Beach, New York, New Mexico, US Virgin Islands, even international trips. Now, pause muna tayo. Importante ito. Private jet travel is different from commercial flights, mga mi, kasi mas konti yung mata. Mas konti ang tanong. Tsaka mas konti ang oversight. Parang VIP lane. Pero every flight has a log. Yan, list of date, destination, crew, list of passengers. So years later, some of these flight logs were unsealed in court cases. So doon nagsimula uminit yung internet. Kasi once names are on paper, hindi na siya marites mga mi. Pero linawin natin ha. Kapag may pangalan sa flight log, hindi automatic na may krimen. Association does not equal guilt. Pero yung hindi maikakaila, he had proximity to powerful people. And ayon sa ilang victims, that proximity became psychological leverage. So imagine mo, teenager ka. Tapos casually binabanggit sa'yo yung pangalan ng presidente, prinsipe, billionaires. So ano yung isipin mo? Diba? Kung magsusumbong ako, sino ngayon yung maniniwala sa akin laban sa kanila? Exactly. And that's power. So hindi lang pera, no? Power of perception. And then, there's the island, yung Little St. James, na later on tinawag nila na Ped Island. Isa siyang 70-acre private island in the US Virgin Islands. So binili siya ni Lolo Epps noong 1998. So from the outside, para siyang paradise. Yan, white sand, blue water, luxury villas. Pero ayon sa sworn testimonies ng ilang victims, the island became a place of isolation. Bakit? Kasi malayo siya sa mainland. Malayo siya sa public visibility, tsaka controlled yung environment. So pinatayuan ni Lolo Epps ng multiple guest houses, private docks, maraming security cameras, and may mga restricted areas. Ngayon, some former staff later said na may parts ng island na off-limits kahit empleyado ka pa. Now, legally speaking, owning a private island is not a crime. Pero location matters. Kasi according to federal prosecutors in 2019, may pattern of transporting minors across state lines for illegal activity. At kapag may movement across states or territories involving minors, federal case na yan. Hindi na siya local issue. Hindi na siya one house, one incident. Kasi movement means coordination. And coordination means system. And once you start looking at jet, repeated routes, same properties, same timeline windows, hindi na siya random. It starts looking structured. And that's when the story stops being about a rich, eccentric financier and starts looking like something organized. And yung scariest part, 4 years, walang huminto until 2005. And then, hindi pa rin natapos. Okay, so remember 2005, di ba? Yung may parent na nag-report sa Palm Beach Police. So full investigation yung nangyari, mga mi. Detectives interviewed multiple teenage girls. So hindi sila magkakakilala pero pare-pareho yung kwento. So again, no, sabi ko kanina, same mansion, same setup, same routine. And the police recommended serious felony charges. So on paper, solid yung kaso. So dapat dito pala nag-end na yung kwento, di ba? Pero syempre hindi. Kasi kung nag-end na yung kwento, lahat tayong pag-uusapan ngayon dito. So instead of going straight to a full federal prosecution, something happened behind closed doors. So ano yun? So on July 31, 2007, federal prosecutors in the Southern District of Florida signed something called a non-prosecution agreement with Jeffrey Epstein. So ano ba yung non-prosecution agreement? So meaning nun, the federal government agreed not to file federal trafficking charges against kay Lolo Epps in that district. In exchange, he would plead guilty to lesser state-level charges quietly. So walang dramatic courtroom showdown, walang federal trial, walang trafficking charges in federal court at that time. So ito yung part na nanggigil yung mga tao. Kasi the agreement also included immunity for certain potential co-conspirators in that district. Meaning, hindi lang siya yung protected from federal charges there. May ibang unnamed individuals na hindi rin kakasuhan federally in that same district. Nakaloka, diba? Pause muna tayo. Kasi, mga mi, hindi ito normal everyday deal. Ang mas mabigat pa, maraming victims ang hindi na-inform bago na finalize yung deal. O imagine mo, nagbigay sila ng statement, nakipag-cooperate sila sa police. Tapos malalaman nila na may deal na pala. Tapos na. Walang heads up, wala na silang chance to object. And then, noong 2008, he pleaded guilty in Florida State Court to 2 prostitution-related charges including one involving a minor. So ano yung sentensya? Ito, may maluloko kayo. 18 months lang in county jail, pero he only served about 13 months because of good behavior. Tapos, ito pa, here's the part na talagang mapapateka lang tayo. Kasi he was granted work release. Meaning, he was allowed to leave jail up to 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, para to go to his office. So technically, yes, he was incarcerated, pero practically, half day nasa office siya, tas balik lang siya sa kulungan sa gabi. Visit, nakakaloka no? So for a case involving minors, yung arrangement na yon raised serious questions. So hindi siya opinion, public record siya mga mi. Now later, the US Department of Justice conducted an internal review. They acknowledged serious flaws in how the agreement was handled and how victims were notified. Pero they did not charge the prosecutors with criminal misconduct. So legally, the deal stood. Tsaka ito yung twist. After serving that sentence, back to regular programming na siya. Back to his lifestyle, private jets, elite connections, lavish properties. So for almost a decade, parang yun, walang nangyari. Which means the moment that should have ended everything actually reset the clock. And that is why 2019 felt like karma catching up. Kasi this wasn't his first arrest. It was the second chance the system gave itself, and this time, yung spotlight was global. Okay, so after that 2008 sentence, tahimik na ulit yung mundo. Parang na-reset yung issue. Oo, registered offender siya. Oo, may public record, pero socially connected pa rin. May pera pa rin. Tsaka may access pa rin. So for almost a decade, he moved like nothing happened. And then, noong November 28, 2018, yung Miami Herald released an investigative series titled Perversion of Justice. So hindi siya mga may random blog ha. Hindi rin siya conspiracy thread. Ano siya? Deep investigative report revisiting yung 2007 deal. Yung non-prosecution agreement nga, di ba? So ang ginawa nila, nag-interview sila ulit ng mga biktima. Ni-review nila yung mga documents, tsaka ni-re-examine nila yung non-prosecution agreement. And suddenly, the question came back louder than ever. Na, paano siya nakalusot? Now, national media picked it up. Public outrage built. And Congress started asking questions. And this time, syempre di na pwedeng tahimik lang, no? Syempre galit na yung mga tao. Now, on July 2, 2019, a federal grand jury in the Southern District of New York returned an indictment against Jeffrey Epstein. So, hindi na sa Florida, no? Hindi na same district. Bagong jurisdiction na. Bagong prosecutors, tsaka new charges. So, he was charged with trafficking of minors and conspiracy to commit sex trafficking of minors. So under federal law mga mino, kapag minor ang involved, hindi mo kailangan patunayan yung force. The exchange of money alone makes it trafficking. And that matters. So on July 6, 2019, si Lolo Epps was arrested at Teterboro Airport in New Jersey. So wala nang dramatic chase, no? Wala nang movie scene. So just federal agents taking him into custody. And this time, nagtry pa siyang mag-ask for bail. Inoffer niya yung mansions niya as collateral. Inoffer niya yung private jet niya. Nag-offer pa siya ng strict house arrest. Pero the court said no. Very good. Yan, kasi because when you're extremely wealthy, tapos you have international connections, and you're facing decades in prison, syempre flight risk ka. So, he was detained at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Manhattan. So, federal custody yun mga mino, wala siyang work release, wala ring office visits, tsaka wala siyang VIP treatment. So, for the first time in decades, he wasn't controlling the timeline. The court was. So, ito, here's the irony. After years of silence, no, after that controversial 2007 deal, after survivors waited for more than a decade, finally, accountability arrived. So he was in a federal cell waiting for trial. And then, August 10, 2019, si Lolo Epps was found unresponsive in his cell. The New York City Chief Medical Examiner ruled it a suicide by hanging. So dahil natsugi siya before trial, the criminal case against him was formally dismissed. So wala nang courtroom testimony, wala nang cross-examination, wala nang full public airing of evidence. So for many survivors, justice ran out of time. And just like that, the man at the center of everything was gone. Pero here's the part people forget. Kasi hindi lang naman siya yung only name in the story, no? Kasi even before his death, and especially after, one survivor refused to stay quiet, and she had been speaking for years under oath in court filings and in public statements, and her name kept coming up. So pasok sa eksena si auntie natin, Virginia Giuffre, and her story would force the world to look beyond Epstein himself. Okay, so habang si Lolo Epps ay nasa headlines noong 2019, may isang pangalan na matagal nang lumalabas bago pa siya maaresto ulit, no? Yun nga, si Auntie, Virginia Giuffre. So she is formerly known as Virginia Roberts. So hindi siya bagong character sa story na to, mga miha. She had been speaking out since the early 2010s under oath sa civil lawsuits tsaka sa interviews. So hindi lang to isang viral moment lang, mga miya. Years ang pagitan. Tsaka consistent ang statements niya. So according sa kanya, she was recruited as a teenager in the early 2000s. At sino raw nag-approach sa kanya? Si Auntie Ghislaine Maxwell. So she said na si Maxwell presented what seemed like work opportunities. Safe, legit, parang normal job setup. Pero ayon sa sworn statements niya, doon nagsimula yung trafficking. Virginia publicly alleged that she was trafficked to multiple locations and introduced to powerful individuals. So, importante linawin ko to ha, kasi these were allegations made in civil court filings and sworn statements. Hindi ito criminal conviction. But when someone testifies under oath, mga may legal consequence yung pagsisinungaling. And that matters. And then, 2021 happened. Si Virginia Giuffre filed a civil lawsuit in New York against Prince Andrew, Duke of York. And she alleged that she was trafficked to him when she was a minor. Pero syempre si Prince Andrew denied the allegations, no? The case did not go to trial. And in February 2022, it was settled out of court. Ito, very important to mami. There was no admission of guilt and there was no criminal conviction. Pero symbolically, malaki yung impact. Kasi this wasn't just about Epstein anymore. It showed na the network around him could still face scrutiny kahit wala na siya. And here's what made Virginia different. Kasi hindi siya tumahimik, hindi siya umatras. Hindi niya binawi yung statements niya. And then years passed, pressure increased, media intensified, and slowly, the spotlight shifted. Hindi na lang yung ano yung ginawa ni Epstein, kundi sino yung tumulong, sino ang nag-recruit, sino ang nag-enable. And that question pointed to one person na matagal nang nasa gilid ng frame. Elegant, socialite, well-connected, and always beside him. Pasok sa eksena, si Auntie Ghislaine Maxwell. And unlike Epstein, she was still alive and very much prosecutable. And this time, the federal government wasn't going to let the story end in a jail cell. Now mga may, nung natsugi si Lolo Epps noong August 2019, syempre maraming taong nag-isip. Sabi nila, wala, tapos na. Syempre main character wala na. Case dismissed. And credits na. Pero kung babalikan natin lahat ng testimonies, no, may isang pangalan na paulit-ulit lumalabas. Hindi siya background decoration. She was present. No? Again, pasok sa eksena, no, si Ghislaine Noel Marion Maxwell. So for almost a year after Lolo Epps' death, tahimik siya, mga mi. Walang public appearances, walang interviews, walang press con. Parang naglaho siya parang bula. Pero hindi tumigil yung investigation, no? Kasi noong July 2, 2020, exactly 1 year after Epstein's indictment, the FBI arrested Ghislaine Maxwell in Bradford, New Hampshire. So, secluded property siya. Tahimik na lugar. Pero doon siya nahanap. So, hindi na to questioning, no? Formal arrest na to. And she was charged with conspiracy to entice minors, transportation of minors for illegal activity, and perjury dahil umano nagsinungaling siya under oath sa isang hiwalay na civil case. So, ano ba yung meaning ng conspiracy? Conspiracy means na kung tumulong ka, nag-recruit ka, nag-set up ka, kahit hindi ikaw yung gumawa ng abuse, liable ka pa rin. And according to prosecutors, she wasn't just the girlfriend, no? She allegedly helped recruit and groom underage girls. So, mga may, the trial began November 2021 in federal court in Manhattan. So, di na to civil, no? This was criminal. The US government prosecuted her. So over several weeks, the jury heard testimonies from multiple survivors, flight records, travel timelines, and contemporaneous notes. So hindi to iisang tao lang yung nagsalita, mga mino, multiple women, hindi magkakakilala, gave similar descriptions of how Maxwell approached them. friendly, social, parang mentor figure. At doon pumasok yung psychological manipulation na kapag may babae sa paligid, minsan mas bumababa yung guard ng bata, 'di ba? So that dynamic was discussed in court. So the defense argued na she was being made a scapegoat kasi tsugi na daw si Epstein, no? Na yung memories ng mga bagets unreliable kasi matagal na daw nangyari yung incident na yon. And yung main perpetrator talaga is si Lolo Epps. So, well, normal defense strategy nga naman yun, no? Pero the jury deliberated. So on December 29, 2021, ang verdict, Ghislaine Maxwell was found guilty on 5 of the 6 counts, including sex trafficking of a minor and conspiracy-related charges. So hindi na to social media judgment na kami. Federal jury verdict na to. So on June 28, 2022, she was sentenced to 20 years in federal prison. 20 years. So walang work release, walang house arrest. Federal prison talaga. So, she filed appeals arguing legal technicalities, including whether the old 2007 Florida agreement should somehow protect her. Pero syempre, different district to mga mi, different prosecution and different case. So, as of the latest rulings, her conviction stands. And for the first time in this entire saga, someone close to Epstein faced a full federal trial and was convicted. So for many survivors, nagmamatter talaga yon. But here's the thing, no? Even with Maxwell convicted, even with Lolo Epps dead, the internet kept asking, okay, pero sino pa? Asan yung list? Asan yung files? And that's when the so-called Epstein files became the next obsession. And this is where things get dangerous, mga mi. Kasi once names start circulating online, context disappears and assumptions explode. Okay, so after Maxwell was convicted, syempre hindi tumahimik yung internet, no? Mas lalo pang ang umingay. Kasi biglang may obsession sa tinatawag na Epstein files. Parang may expectation na may secret master list na biglang lalabas tapos maglalagay ng checkmark kung sino yung guilty. Pero linawin natin agad mga mino, walang official document na titled Epstein client list. Walang ganun. Na na-release ng court proving criminal guilt ng mga pangalan na umiikot online. Ang tinatawag na Epstein files ay collection ng court filings, sworn depositions, flight logs, address books, emails, and civil lawsuit records. So halo-halo siyang legal documents na na-unsealed over time. So unsealed means dati sealed siya. Ngayon, accessible na siya sa public, accessible na siya sa atin na makita natin, no? Pero unsealed does not equal proven guilty. Magkaiba yun mga miha. Now, let's talk about the names people always bring up with context. Hindi sensational, hindi accusatory, context lang. Okay, first name, si Bill Clinton, former US President. So, lumitaw yung pangalan niya in certain flight logs and in testimony references. So, Clinton has publicly stated that he traveled on Epstein's plane for philanthropic trips, including to Africa, and has denied any knowledge of Epstein's criminal conduct. So, walang criminal charges laban sa kanya related to Epstein's abuse. So, ito very important mga mi. Presence in flight logs does not establish involvement in crime. Okay, next name is si Donald J. Trump. So, photos and social appearances show na si Trump and si Lolo Epps moved in similar social circles in the 1990s. And Trump has said na he later cut ties with Lolo Epps and has denied any involvement in abuse. Wala rin siyang criminal charges in connection to Epstein's trafficking case. Again, mga mi, social association does not equal criminal participation. Next name, si Prince Andrew, Duke of York. So yung pangalan niya lumabas prominently dahil sa civil lawsuit filed by Virginia Giuffre. She alleged she was trafficked to him when she was 17. Pero Prince Andrew denied the allegations. The case was settled in February 2022. And again, very important, yung settlement included no admission of guilt and it was not a criminal conviction. But the public scrutiny led him to step back from official royal duties. Okay, next name, si Alan Dershowitz. Well-known US lawyer siya. So his name appeared in certain civil filings and depositions. He has consistently denied all allegations and has not been criminally charged in connection with Epstein's abuse. Next, si Leslie H. Wexner, yung billionaire businessman who once gave Epstein power of attorney over his finances. So, he stated na he cut ties with Epstein after learning about misconduct. Wessner has not been criminally charged in relation to the abuse allegations. Now, pause muna tayo. Kasi itong part na to ang madalas na hindi sinasabi online, mga mi. May difference ang being named in a document, being associated socially, being accused in a civil filing, being criminally charged, and being convicted. So, hindi sila pareho, mga miya. Kasi sa batas, those are completely different levels of accountability. Kaya kapag may lumabas na pangalan sa flight log, address book, o deposition, hindi siya automatic na may krimen, no? Pero here's the uncomfortable truth. Si Lolo Epps kasi deliberately surrounded himself with powerful, recognizable names. Kasi proximity to power creates perceived protection. And ayon sa testimonies ng ilang survivors, yung perception na yun made them feel even more powerless. Kasi, di ba, kung yung abuser mo ay lagi may pictures kasama ng mga presidente, prinsipe, bilyonaryo, katulad nga na sinabi ko kanina, kung magsusumbong ako, sino yung paniniwalaan, di ba? And that psychological effect is real. Pero legal responsibility is not determined by proximity. It requires evidence, charges, trial, and verdict. Okay, now, fast forward tayo. In early 2026, the U.S. Department of Justice announced that they published over 3 million additional pages of documents responsive to the Epstein Files Transparency Act signed in November 2025. So kasama raw sa release ang more than 2,000 videos, around 180,000 images, and millions of pages of records. So combined with prior releases, nearly 3.5 million pages total ang na-produce under the Act. Ito, important clarification, mga miya. The DOJ described them as materials responsive to the Act, meaning released siya as part of compliance with a transparency law. So, hindi ibig sabihin na may bagong secret client list na nahanap, no? At marami sa documents na yan ay redacted, meaning may tinakpan na details, often to protect survivor privacy or ongoing review. So, kapag may narinig kayo sa online na, ay, may bombshell na pangalan, slow down. Documentation does not equal accusation. Accusation does not equal conviction. And conviction requires due process. Now, here's the bigger picture. Epstein's criminal case ended with his death, mga mi. Maxwell's conviction stands. Pero, the public conversation about power, influence, and institutional failure, hindi pa tapos. Kasi this case wasn't just about one predator, no? It exposed how access, wealth, and elite proximity can distort accountability. And that conversation, global na siya. And honestly, that's the part that makes people the most uncomfortable. No? So ngayon, tingnan natin yung buong picture, mga mi. Si Lolo Epps Tsugi na ang official ruling suicide by hanging noong August 10, 2019. Si Auntie Ghislaine Maxwell is serving a 20-year federal sentence. Millions of pages of documents have been released. Civil cases have been filed and settled. On paper, may movement, may consequences. Pero bakit hanggang ngayon parang may kulang pa rin sa pakiramdam ng mga tao? Kasi may mga bagay na hindi na mangyayari. Hindi na natin maririnig si Lolo Epps sa witness stand. Hindi na siya mako-cross-examine under oath sa public trial, no? Hindi na may papakita sa open court lahat ng ebidensya in full detail. Kasi a criminal trial is different, mga mino. Kasi 'di ba may presentation ng evidence, may questioning, may record. At yun yung nawala nung natsugi siya before trial. So for many survivors, nangamatter yung moment na yun, no? Hindi dahil gusto nila ng spectacle, ha? Kundi dahil may weight yung courtroom truth. Kasi iba kapag may verdict na galing sa proseso, di ba? Now, may mga nagsasabi na may tinatago pa, may mas malaki pang network. Pero hanggang ngayon, ang documented criminal convictions ay Jeffrey Epstein charged federally in 2019 and case dismissed upon death. Ghislaine Maxwell convicted in 2021, serving sentence. So, walang mass secret arrest na tinatago. Wala ring official criminal conviction ng ibang high-profile names connected directly to the trafficking case. Pero that doesn't mean people were not investigated, mga miya. It just means na criminal liability requires evidence beyond association. Tsaka ito yung mas uncomfortable na realization. Sometimes, justice is partial. Sometimes, justice is delayed. Sometimes, justice arrives but not in the way people expected. So, itong case na to forced governments to re-examine plea deals. It led to scrutiny of how victims are informed. It triggered transparency laws. It sparked global conversations about power and exploitation. So hindi lang to simpleng true crime mga mino, naging ano na siya, case study on influence, on institutional failure, on how money can bend systems, diba? And maybe that's why hindi siya nawawala sa public memory. Kasi itong story na to, hindi siya satisfying actually. Kasi walang clean ending, diba? Walang cinematic courtroom climax. May death, may conviction, tsaka may millions of documents, pero may lingering question pa rin. Isipin nyo, kung hindi siya natsugi in that jail cell, ano pa kaya yung lalabas sa trial? And how different would the world feel right now? No? That's the part that keeps this story alive. Hindi conspiracy, hindi drama. But yung space between what we know and what we'll never hear in court. And maybe yun yung totoong plot twist, no? Kasi hindi siya natapos sa verdict. Natapos siya sa silence. Ito mga may, kung titingnan mo lang sa headlines, parang simple lang, no? Rich guy, private jet, island, scandal, jail, death, the end. Pero kapag hinimay mo, hindi to kwento ng isang tao lang. Story siya about access. Isang lalaking walang degree, walang malinaw na business model, pero nakapasok siya sa elite circles. Nakaupo sa parehong mesa ng presidente, nakakasabay sa royalty, nakakausap yung mga bilyonaryo like normal lang. Access without credentials. And once he had access, he built an image. And that image became armor. Kasi kapag powerful yung nasa paligid mo, mas mahirap kang galawin, di ba? And that armor worked for years. 2005 may police report na. 2007 may deal na nangyari. 2008 nakalabas siya. 2019 na-aresto siya ulit. 1 month later, tsugi na siya. Ang bilis, di ba, kapag sinabi mo lang. Pero para sa mga biktima, mga mi, that was decades of trauma. And here's the part that hits different, no? Kung walang investigative journalism noong 2018, kung walang survivors na tumayo kahit takot sila, kung walang public pressure, ito yung tanong, may 2019 arrest ba? Di natin alam. And that's scary. Kasi ibig sabihin minsan, hindi automatic gumagalaw yung sistema. Kailangan may mag-ingay, kailangan may magtanong, kailangan may tumayo. At kahit may conviction na si Antigileno, kahit may millions of pages na na-release, may kulang pa rin sa pakiramdam ng marami. Not because of conspiracy, but because of what the case exposed, no? Na kapag may pera ka, may access ka, may powerful friends ka, pwede mong ma-delay ang accountability. No? Not forever, pero matagal. And that delay costs people their peace. So before we close this, no, here's the question I want you to really sit with. Kung walang journalist na nag-ungkat, kung walang survivors na tumayo, at kung walang public pressure, do you think this story would have ever come out? At kung ganito kahirap panagutin yung isang taong may pera at connection, ilang kwento pa kaya yung hindi umaabot sa ganitong level ng exposure? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if may iba ka pang story suggestions, crime, mystery, o kahit historical scandal, comment mo or i-DM mo lang sa akin. Malay mo, yan ay next Dark Chika natin. Real stories, twisted endings, Dark Chika. This is Sa Likod ng Kwento with me, Apple Season, and as always, don't forget to like, follow, share, and save, and I hope to see you in the next one. Stay safe, stay curious. Bye!